We now cross live to Patric Solomons from Molo Songololo, a child rights NGO based in Cape Town. A very good evening to you, Mr. Solomons. A lot of cases coming to the fore in the past couple of weeks, highlighting the abuse of the most vulnerable and defenseless, the children of the country. What's going on?
I think that's a big question for all of us, and it's sometimes very difficult to find the right answers. What we do know is that our children are very, very vulnerable, and they live in very high-risk environments, and that the very people who are supposed to take care of them, like their family members, their neighbors, the people in their own communities, are the worst enemies. And just in these recent days, we've seen quite a number of horrific child killings and murders taking place. So for us also, who work almost every day with children who have been traumatized because of sexual violence, and communities where there's very high incident of these kinds of crimes against children, it is very, very difficult. We see almost every day that children fear for their lives. We see mothers fear for their children's lives. We see fathers don't know what to do, how to protect their children, and communities feeling completely defenseless against this kind of onslaught that is within. And I think that in itself is a big problem. We are looking for answers to the police, to the community, to government. But I think it is within ordinary families that we're going to try and find the answers, that communities need to begin to take charge and perhaps take better care of children. Most parents are doing a good job, but there are pockets where children are particularly vulnerable, and these communities, we know exactly where they are. And I think with a concerted effort by everybody, as well as ordinary parents, ordinary adults within local communities, we can begin to make a difference. It is very tragic that almost a similar kind of crime happened in Bredasdorp, also here in the Western Cape the other day. And so we do feel that we need to all make an extra effort working together. And I think the more we focus on trying to decrease the risk factors for children, and it is basically about supervision of children, making sure our communities that are very high-risk communities, that we intervene in those communities. It is the overcrowding communities where there's high levels of groups of people living together, where there's poverty, where there's a lack of child support systems, and we can make a difference. And that's what we believe, and what we have been doing also, encouraging other people to do, is to go and do house visits. So we do go and visit people at their homes, knock on people's doors to check how they're doing, check how the children are doing. And I think if more and more of us do that, we will get a better idea of which children are at risk, which children needs to be supported, and which households are high-risk households for our children.
As an NGO, what type of support do you need from law enforcement and government in general in terms of perhaps higher sentences and more deterrence for child abusers?
I think from the very beginning, when a child do go missing, we need to make sure that everyone knows exactly what to do. And often, many people still believe that they have to wait 24 hours before they have to go to the police station. And sometimes parents do go to the police station to report, and then there's some problems that they have there. There's poor communication that happens. So I think we need to make sure that everyone knows and understand what to do. And therefore also children and young people need to understand what to do. So if we build up our support systems more, then I think we will be able to close the gaps where we do have that. So the police have a tough job, and I think what the police also need to do is to inform parents and to inform communities better about what is happening, the progress that they're making, and the kind of information that they need that can improve on their job. So better communication between police, between parents and communities, to children, to schools. I think that can improve a lot about exactly what to do when children find themselves in difficult circumstances, and where to go to for help. There's a massive prevention program that's being rolled out in terms of the child support grant and a whole range of other services that is there already. But somehow we're not getting the kind of results that we expect. Somehow things are still going wrong in our communities. And some of the very parents that is supposed to protect our children continue to abuse them, continue to harm them. So we need to look at some of those moral issues and how these get translated. We've also just recently seen how children themselves commit crime, and how children themselves engage in most inappropriate activities without thinking about the consequences of those actions. So we still have a lot of work to do. And from our side, what we believe is that those support systems within families, within communities, between communities and government service, with the police, those support systems needs to be strengthened.
Thank you very much for your time. That was Patric Solomons, and he's from NGO Molo Songololo, talking to us about the recent spate of child killings that's going on in the country, saying that working together, society can make a difference.